Really cool. I like the chords. Mix-wise, I think that you may have a lot of compression, and that might be the reason why on your master, but the snare doesn't slap my The snare needs to be more... Maybe you could try and sidechain. I don't know how you sidechain your track, but maybe you can sidechain a little bit on top of the snare, not just the kick. A counterexample would be when you listen to a Skrillex song. To my knowledge, when a Skrillex snare happens, the rest ducks away. So you really have the space for it. And sometimes it's as little as making your bass only go up to the snare if it decays, if there's some sort of reverb on it, and just cutting that out. And sometimes it will stick out more. Okay. We'll do a little test with everybody. We'll do a little educational moment. I'm going to play this again at full volume, and you will tell me yes or no. The question is, does this snare drum slap your It appears like the snare drum does not slap the majority of my chat's. While that is what we are trying to achieve. The snare, to me, I think is trying to be a little bit of like a Jackie vibe, which I don't know if this is really the right type of spot for it. If you want to use like a snare, like a weird snare, you don't really want to have a kick behind it, because the kick will mask the majority of the little bit of body that your snare will have. So you really want to separate your kick and your snares if you use like a snare that sounds like something along those lines. Here, if I'm not mistaken, you have the kick on top of the snare, which makes it really hard. So you got all your if this is your spectrum of frequencies, your kick is right here, this part. So your snare only has a tiny bit over here. If you put your kick over it and it masks the majority of it, you don't really get to hear that snare. So I think a different type of snare drum would be, personally, in my opinion, better for this kind of song. Kick needs a lot more attack. Snare feels really, really short. There's a trick you can do. If you feel like you ever want a longer snare, you can pick a long-ish snare clap situation, and then it's going to feel weird, or even a noise. It's going to feel weird because it's so long and weird on top of the kick. And then you put something like an LFO tool on top where you sidechain it really hard, and it makes it sound like it's really compressed, and it, like, as soon as the kick goes away, it sucks the snare back in. Something like that you could have tried here.